approximately. So we need to prepare ourselves as much as possible for Ramadan. You know, when it comes to worldly things, we prepare way in advance. For example, when someone's getting married, then he'll prepare, especially in this day and age, 1 year in advance. He'll make sure he collects the money, he makes sure the venues are correct, etc. So when it comes to worldly things, we prepare way in advance. But when it comes to religion, we lack. We are unaware, or we don't show the same kind of eagerness that we're supposed to show. And like we mentioned earlier, that we've come to this world to worship Allah the Almighty. So if we are truly fulfilling our purpose of creation, then we are supposed to be preparing for those acts that have been ordained upon us. Where Allah the Almighty, He mentions, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykum as-siyam, O believers, fasting has been ordained upon you. Why? لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you attain piety. And he also mentions before that it's not something that has just been ordained upon you, but it's something that was ordained on people before you, on the nations before you as well. They used to fast as well, but obviously in different ways. So don't think that it's something that I'm just making compulsory upon you, but the people before you also used to fast. And the main reason that Allah is making us fast, so that we adopt the quality of taqwa, inculcate into us the quality of taqwa. Taqwa means God-fearing, God-consciousness, piety, fearing Allah, knowing that Allah is looking at us 24/7. Taqwa has a very deep meaning, and it was very well explained by a companion known as Ubay ibn Ka'b radiallahu anhu. Ubay ibn Ka'b radiallahu anhu, once he was asked by someone that what does taqwa mean? So Ubay ibn Ka'b radiallahu anhu, rather than responding, he said to the person, the questioner, that have you ever passed a pathway where there are thorns and prickles? So then that person said, yes, many a times I've passed such a pathway where there are thorns and prickles. So then Ubay ibn Ka'b radiallahu anhu asked that person, the questioner, that when you pass such a pathway, how do you pass? So then that person, he responded by saying that when I pass a pathway which is full of thorns and prickles, I pass in such a way that I make sure that my clothes do not get stuck in the prickles, in the thorns. I make sure I do not get injured, my skin does not get injured, I do not get marks, etc. So I pass in such a good, cautious way where I make sure I do not get injured, harm, my clothes do not get stuck in the nettles, etc. So then Ubay ibn Ka'b radiallahu anhu, he said that is exactly what taqwa is. That a person, he lives his life in such a way where the thorns and prickles, they are the sins, they are the evil deeds, they are the shayateen and our desires, those things that are evil and trying to attract us to the evil things. So those are the thorns and prickles of life. We need to avoid those things and live life in such a way where we stay on the straight path, the path of Islam, the path of the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ, acting upon the orders of Allah and the Prophet ﷺ, staying away from the prohibitions of Allah and the Prophet ﷺ. So staying on the straight path, staying away from all these evils and vices, that is what taqwa is, where we always stay on the straight path. So that's what we need to inculcate into ourselves. And that's what this fasting, inshallah, this month of Ramadan is like a warm-up. Just like when we play a game of football, normally what do? We warm up beforehand. Why? So that we do not suffer from cramp later on. We do not have muscle pains, muscle aches. So likewise, this month of Ramadan is like a warm-up. It's 1 month from the whole year. From the 12 months, it's only 1 month. So it's like a warm-up for the remaining 11 months. If we prepare for Ramadan properly, and then in Ramadan we carry out the activities properly, the good deeds, the worship properly, then hopefully it will warm us up for the whole year. So that's what we need to do. Make sure we benefit from Ramadan and make sure we act upon all the duties that we have to act upon, the obligations in Ramadan.